All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Seeds of Music. I'm your host, Kyle Willems, and this is the #1 web show where aspiring independent artists, musicians, and producers can learn right now how to gain wider exposure, grow a strong base of raving fans, and make a living doing what they love, which is making music. And on this episode, I have Alicia Stern, who is one half of the Rendezvous radio show with Chris and Alicia. And the cool thing about the Rendezvous radio show is that it is net radio, completely all based online, has over 30,000 listeners, and their mission is to help indie artists get public attention and awareness of their music, not only by having you on for an interview or playing your music on the show, but also promoting you through their own promotion packages and their own personal networks. And the even cooler thing that they do is they will play your music for free. You literally just have to send them an MP3 and they will run it on a spot. And that in itself is just really awesome that they do that. And on top of that, Alicia also runs a show called Madhouse TV, where it's essentially the same mission as the Rendezvous radio show, except it's in a web TV format. So I'm going to sit down with Alicia today and go over, how artists can use radio to effectively promote themselves, what pitfalls you might come across when you're doing that, and just like different qualities that she's seen in the artists that she's interviewed that seem to be moving their careers forward and kind of like what they're doing and whatnot. So, all right, let's jump right in. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Seeds of Music. We've got Alicia Stern on the show today. Alicia, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So, I have to admit, I am kind of not clueless, but there's not a lot that I know about how net radio works because you're not broadcasting on an FM dial where people are in their cars or, necessarily tuning into that. They have to go to the web for that. So, how is it different for independent artists, or just any musician in general to get promotion through this different type of radio?
Well, Chris and I own the Rendezvous Show, Inc., which is a mini promotions company for independent artists. And I think we do things a little bit differently. We don't just utilize the radio. We utilize our PR and social media aspects to promote an indie artist. For example, we will have some indie artists come on our radio show, and we'll do about a 20-minute Q&A interview with them. We'll play some of their music, but we don't just stop there. We take it a step further, and we delve into our promotions company, where we do several forms of promotions. So we don't just utilize radio, we utilize net TV. We also utilize an extreme amount of internet-based and paper magazines, written venues to get our artists or clients, whoever we sign up, to get them promoted. As far as internet radio, I think it's the best way to go because it seems everybody has a smartphone now, and if you tune in, you can listen on your cell phone, you can listen on your iPad, your laptop. In your car, you can plug your smartphone into your car when you're driving, just like you can turn an FM dial, you could turn on your cell phone and plug it into the speakers and stuff. So I think it's pretty much the way of the future and the wave of music.
So I'd imagine if let's say we compare net radio to just traditional radio, just for the sake of comparison, because they're it's radio but one's through a different medium. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm seeing the primary advantage for an independent artist to go with net radio would be that it's more accessible for indie artists, because to get on terrestrial radio, you have to, have like a hit mainstream song, because it seems like that's all they play, because the way it's funded is it's funded through the big machine, the big record label machine. Does that sound about right? How do the two compare? Why go for net radio instead?
The net radio, one of the things that I like is you can listen at your own convenience. Mm-hmm. Kristen, you can listen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether you're in the shower, you're taking a lunch break, you're going speed walking, it's always archived. Where on terrestrial radio, once you're played, it's gone. If you had a 10 a.m. interview and nobody tuned in, then nobody heard you.
Oh, yeah.
Internet radio, it is always there. It is archived, and it's timeless.
Oh,
So,
okay.
and you can utilize those interviews or those archives, and you can email them, you can social media blast them, you can place them on your website or any of your sites, and they're more, even though they're internet based, they're more tangible than terrestrial radio. Anything is more tangible on the internet than it is on just regular airwaves.
So is there what platform do you use for your radio show?
We use a couple of them now. We started with the Blog Talk Radio because it seemed to be the simplest and the easiest,
Okay.
but we switched on to a couple different avenues after that. We're actually going 24/7. We're going to be starting a radio program, so we're actually starting to collect indie music now. I believe within 2 months, I believe, we'll be 24/7. You would have to ask Chris that question because
Oh, okay.
Chris knows all the technical terms. I know we're using all new outlets and products and stuff, but I know we did start with Blog Talk Radio, and I do know one of our affiliates uses a site called Spreaker, I believe it's called.
Okay.
And but we're on to more mature and more high tech stuff right now. But like I said, you have to ask Chris because I don't know what it's called.
Okay. But regardless, it seems like a net radio show like Rendezvous that you and Chris run. Provide that platform, whatever you run it on, like you can have a link or something that you can share or you can embed on your own website. So if I was an artist or a musician, which I am actually, but let's say I have an interview with you and I wanted to take that interview and put it on my own website or share it, in my own social networks. Is that possible?
Of course it is.
Okay.
Exactly like you said, it's just you share the link.
And what type of people are tuning in exactly to listen to these shows? Are they artists and musicians themselves, or just regular, run-of-the-mill people? I don't know what that means, but people outside of that?
Yeah, we have all different people tuning in. We get our database. I think our last couple shows we averaged 27,000 views, which is pretty big. I mean, on terrestrial radio, it's hard to really pinpoint exactly who is watching you, but the way Chris and I have all our sites set up, we gather all of our databases and our sociological information, and we pretty much find our demographics. We have 52% of our fans are females, 48% men's. Our average age for the Rendezvous radio show itself is 25 to 44. So pretty much Generation X is tuning in. A little bit younger, and Generation X are tuning in to us. And we're heard worldwide. We know that our predominant area of listenership is New York. And then we have a huge population in France and Germany, which we don't know who's in France and Germany, but we get emails from them, and on our database we can see we have thousands of followers from there. So, who's tuning in? Many people are tuning in.
Okay. So it'd be more than just one type of person. So you know that if you have your interview or your music premiered on that you've got more than just like one type of person listening to it. So you have a better chance of creating interest there. It seemed like. So I know Rendezvous Show is not just for musicians. You've expanded out to like other quote unquote artists, where you have like actors and things like that. That's a great.
We have celebrities and professional sports players and artists, artists themselves, and anybody indie. We have some actors, some models. It's gone to such a step further that I believe next Saturday, is it on the 17th, that they're coming and filming an indie film. 2 scenes from an indie film will be filmed in our studios.
Oh, so nice.
How big this has gone. We had a music producer ask if he could come with a bunch of actors. Actually, one of them is from HBO, from The Wire. Will be in our studios and filming 2 scenes from a movie. So we're not just a radio station. We're like a step or 2 ahead of that.
Okay, which is good. I mean, because then you get being involved with it. You know, being a musician and having like a slot there means there's just like more opportunity there. I mean, I think it would be cool just to, you know, be able to meet other people, you know, through the radio show, because they hear you, they contact you, and they say, hey, I'm an actor, I live in Los Angeles, and, you know, we're doing this, I'm in this film, and I know, like, the guy who's doing the music production for it, and I heard your music, it'd be cool to, you know, license one of your songs for use on this indie film. You know, I'm just pulling something out, but, you know, I think independent artists now need to be looking for opportunities just anywhere, you know, in any shape or form, and just cross-collaborating with creative efforts with other creative people, just in a, you know, a kind of, I don't know, a cosmic, flowery way makes the world a better place. And yeah, that's just my opinion, but regardless, it seems like you've got a lot of bang for your buck going on in that show.
Oh, we definitely do. And I think one of the most important things about our show is that it's real. It's real people going through real things and really trying to improve their craft and take their whatever they have about themselves, their talents, to the next level. And Chris and I always say, like, once you rendezvous, you become family, because we embrace everybody. I mean, we're addicted. Like, you know, we're addicted to coffee now because we're working such long days, but we're addicted to the people that we're meeting. People open up their hearts to us. They share their struggles, their triumphs with us, and the dreams. They share their dreams. Mm-hmm. And I think when we don't even know, some of the people we have become really good friends with, and whether we met each other on Twitter or somebody friend requested us on Facebook because they heard we play free indie music, and we have built bonds with people. And I think that is so fascinating. Chris and I talk 24/7. We're attached at the hip because there's so much going on, and there's so many people out there that we're meeting. I think it's like we're addicted to this radio. Yeah. It's just, there's always something new and exciting and adventurous, and it's so real.
And what's interesting, I remember when we talked before, you actually had a stint within the music industry, as in the mainstream. I don't know. I guess what's coming out as I'm saying, like, the music industry, like that, the at large. What was your? You didn't have. I remember you saying the experience was kind of not that great. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, sure. I've always been a music junkie. I've loved music my entire life, and I guess I started writing for this magazine called Spada Long Island Magazine, and I really loved focusing in more on the musicians and any form of music, whether they were celebrities or indie artists or just bringing in. And so for writing for that magazine on Long Island, I met a really great entertainment group, and they took me under their wing, and I got to go to Hollywood for a week with them and stuff. And I was pretty much the PR rep for an indie artist. The relationship didn't end the way I would have liked. I still loved it. The relationship didn't end, but they really gave me such insight, especially going to Hollywood and teaching me the ropes and what people look for and great stuff. They taught me so much. But the one thing that solidified, my wanting to do net radio more than terrestrial radio was the female singer that I was promoting was being played on a Long Island radio. And I live within 20 miles of the radio station, and I don't even get the station at my house. I had to listen to it on the internet to hear her. So that experience alone was confirmation that I knew that part of my dream was to get into radio, that I definitely wanted net radio. I mean, when you're promoting somebody and you can't even hear your own client on terrestrial radio, you have to really think, like, who else is listening, But they have a website, and everybody can tune in on the website. So that was just solidification that I wanted to do net radio. But yeah, being the PR rep was my chest went. Being the PR rep for an indie artist actually the final straw that was like, that's it. I'm definitely starting my own business.
Okay, yeah, because I guess I thought that you know that when you were working in for the music industry at large and not for the indie artist, that maybe the the integrity is a little bit different as far as like the music goes. Everyone knows that it's different on that level, and so I guess my point is like you've experienced that, and now like moving to something that's more grassroots, that's more for the small artists, the ones that are struggling, the ones that have full creative control of their music, they just don't have the promotion. So it's got to be. I mean, I imagine it'd be pretty cool to satisfying personally to go from that to what you're doing now, which is why you're so passionate about it. And you work, chug coffee and work 14-hour days or whatever.
I see. Now I get the point. I know exactly what you're saying. We actually interviewed Spose, and he has millions of hits on his music video for "I'm Awesome." It's a great song. It's fun.
Sounds like a great title.
Yeah,
he's modest, right?
Yeah, and when he was signed, he says the same thing. When you're signed with somebody, they do the rules. Your creativity kind of goes out the window a little bit because they change things up a little bit. Being an author, I could say the same thing. I wrote a phenomenal book. I thought the artwork was beautiful. It finally got picked up by a big publisher, which I won't mention now because now we don't know if we're going to go with them at this point. But the creativity went out the window. They loved the story. They loved the artwork, but the entire book had to be changed. It's taken way over a year to change this whole book, and it's almost like, is it even worth it? Like, that was our blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
We put into this book. This big publisher picked it up, but we have to change.
Yeah.
And that was the same thing with the music industry. When I was really writing for other people and working for other people, no matter what I was doing, they want things a certain way, and you have to, do it that way. But now, Chris and I, with our, we do everything the way we want to do it, and it's very different.
Mm-hmm. And excuse me, I'm just getting over being a little sick for the past couple of days. I thought I wouldn't cough this whole interview, but I guess not. Sorry, everybody.
I don't even know who I'm looking at with this guy. Some people
yeah, you can. Yeah, hey guys. By the way, what we were talking about before we started this interview was like how it might be creepy to look straight at the webcam instead of. But no, it's totally fine to just look at the picture.
Yeah, you know what I wanted to talk to you about. Being in our business, Chris and I, we can affiliate ourselves or choose to work with other companies and cross promote and sponsor each other, or sponsor one company and another company will sponsor us. And we are just meeting so many people. Two of the companies that we work with are T-Bames. It's the big Apple Indie Music Series, and Talent Army Productions. Okay. And through them, they do stuff very similar to what we do, but they're all about the indie music. And they're worldwide as well, because when you're on the internet, you're not just based to a local terrestrial area. You're worldwide.
Okay. They have to have them on for an interview or two. That's a future. Let me write that down.
Yeah, T-Bames, Talent Army Promotions. You would look at them. But they're great. They came up with this concept for the indie artists, and we are really proud to run with them. We collect all submissions. Chris and I do too, from all musicians, and every month we all sit down. Pretty much Brian and John Lander sit down most, and they pick which artists they want to perform, and they open up a platform and let indie artists perform in front of music producers and agents that are signing, and sponsors and commercials and movie people that want music in their movie, like you were saying before. Yeah. And we're so proud to be affiliated with them. That's another avenue that when they come to the Rendezvous radio show, we ask them to come to the city to be a part. Hopefully they'll be able to have that opportunity.
So, yeah. So being involved with Rendezvous is being involved with all these other great entities too. And
yes.
real quick, before I actually forget this question, but actually I can't forget it because it's written down on this screen here. But you've had a lot of artists coming through your show. You've been hard at it for quite some time, and I'm wondering, Has there ever been a recurring quality that you've seen between the more successful musicians that have come onto your show? Like, do they all wake up early, or are they all have, uh, a certain workflow or a certain mentality?
Uh, there's a big difference between celebrities and indie artists. I will
Let's talk
say,
about the indie artists, because celebrities, yeah, that's another show. But specifically for
the
for
indie
small time
artists,
artists.
a pleasure. They want their work. They want their dreams heard by other people. They want their talent seen. They want their craft known. They pay us for promotional packages, but yet they go and promote us more than we do them because they're so honored to be part of the Rendezvous. They never give up.
Mm-hmm.
They never give up. They're punctual. If we say we have a 5 o'clock meeting or a Q&A, they call at 4:59.
Yeah.
They are incredible. They're excited. They have dreams. Chris and I say sometimes we would rather hang out with the indie artists that we meet that want to come and rendezvous with us than with our own friends. Just so full of aspirations and goals that they get us excited to. They teach us things, and we love it. We love it. So the one big thing is they never give up. They're ambitious. They are self-motivated. They are just a joy to work with. The best.
So like professionalism, is one thing you mentioned that I can definitely relate to, because if you want to have more power as a musician or artist, you have to. I mean, if you want to make a living doing it, and get your music heard and eventually sell it and build fans, then you have to have some kind of professionalism, to show up time and be there, and then also, like you said, not giving up, because I guess it's only over when you quit, because no one's gonna drop a bomb on your head, necessarily, that will end your music career. So, there's this one other thing that I noticed when I was first going across your website. You had something called Madhouse TV. I don't know what it is, but I'm just curious. What is that?
Madhouse TV is a television station on Long Island, and I have my own television show. It's a talk show. We air live every Saturday morning at 11. I'm actually going to daytime now, so I'm doing a show. And Chris and I started the Rendezvous with Alicia television show almost maybe 2 years ago, a year and a half ago I started that. But now that Chris and I have the business, we kind of marketed the word rendezvous. So Chris and I now are revamping the Rendezvous with Alicia show, the daytime show, and it's going to be a kick-ass show. We have some great stuff lined up. It's going to air in September. It's kind of the summer off. And really looking forward to it. It's a net television show. You can find it at madhousetv.com or Madhouse TV Reality or something. I think madhousetv.com. And just go to my channel. It's called Rendezvous with Alicia. It is awesome. I love it.
What's the goal of the show?
The goal of the show is pretty much to be the eyes and the ears for those that needed an affordable platform to produce a music video, to get their story across. Again, we do indie artists, politicians, charities, businesses, just an array of people, kind of like what Ellen would do, or, maybe not as inspirational as Oprah or anything, but,
Oprah's there. Well, yeah. Well, Oprah, I mean, you can still be inspirational. It's just Oprah's,
she's
been around for like, I can't, how long has she been around? Since the 90s? She's just been around, she's just like a huge brand, well known, and she has huge networks behind her,
Yeah,
massive.
She branded herself. I mean, she's like my inspiration. I would love to be like Oprah, you know.
But her audience is broad, though. Her audience is just like anyone, pretty much.
We are 25 to 44. She's anyone. It's so generic,
Yeah. That's why it's so big, is because the market is everyone. But she definitely kills it. So, just to finish up with this last fun question I ask everyone, and whoever's watching this probably knows what's coming. What is your favorite album, and what would your life be like if it never existed?
That is so hard. I would have to say the Grease from the soundtrack. I think it was 1977 or something, because that I was maybe it was a little older than little.
You wouldn't have danced as much, maybe? That's how your life would change?
I just remember the movie and the soundtrack, and I believe that's Sean Cassidy with "Did You Run Run." I think was like my first song that I loved. That's the furthest back. I mean, I'm 40, so back in like the early 70s and stuff. But the Grease soundtrack, I think that really kicked off my love for music. I was in love with John Travolta, so the movie with the soundtrack. My sister and I would have dance contests all the time, and I'd have to say that. Yeah.
Oh, and actually, real quick, tell us how people can get more involved. Tell us how people can get on the show.
Sure, you can email us at talkrendezvous@gmail.com, or you can check us out at Rendezvous Inc. It's spelled RENDEZVOUS Inc. .com, or we're on Facebook, the Rendezvous Radio Show with Chris and Alicia. Where else are we? I don't know.
They just send you an email, and what do they need to have ready to go in order to get on the show? Do they need to have at least one album or an EP or what? I mean, how do you do that?
An MP3. If anybody wants us to play their music for free, they just need an MP3. If they want more than that, they have to purchase a promotional packages. They start at $50.
Okay.
Our packages start at $50. We have an a la carte menu, I guess you call it.
Yeah.
And then we have promotional packages. They start at again $50. You can't beat that. But to come on the radio, you have to get a promotional package, but we always play your music for free.
Okay, awesome. Well, that sounds good. Just like another. I mean, it's different. It's a different way other than just posting your music on Reverb Nation. You actually have people who are going to be sitting there listening to it, and it's archived forever. So that's great.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for this.
All right. No problem. All right, we will meet again, I'm sure.
I know.
Okay. All right. Thanks again. That wraps up another episode of Seeds of Music on the show we had today. Alicia from The Rendezvous Show with Chris and Alicia. Guys, check out her links below. Get on the show. Submit your song for free radio play. I mean, that should be like the first thing you do no matter what. Just because you need to be pursuing every avenue of getting exposure for your music, and especially one that is just providing you exposure for free. It's just great that they're doing that. But also make sure to check out their promotion packages that they offer beyond that if you're really serious about investing in the growth of your own music and music career. So sign up for the email newsletter if you haven't yet. Head over to seedsmusic.net. There are forums all over the site. Just punch in your email address and boom, you're on the newsletter. You won't miss another interview. If you're watching this from YouTube and you're subscribed to the channel but not subscribed to the newsletter, sign up for the newsletter. That's the only way I really communicate with anybody when I send out an email list to updates on the site, things that are coming out soon, certain awesome things. Just hint. You need to be on the email newsletter list to be able to catch that, so make sure you do that. If you liked this interview, you felt like you learned a lot from it, and you're excited to send in your free you're sending your MP3 for some free radio play. Just like and share this interview with your other musician, artist, or producer friends, or label owners, and so on and so forth. It's just so they can get in on the action. And lastly, comment on the video. Let me know what your greatest takeaway was for the interview and how you're going to apply what you've learned in this episode today. And who would you like to see interviewed in the future? Or are you someone who wants to be interviewed? Just send me an email at kyle.seedsmusic@gmail.com. I answer all my emails personally. It may take maybe up to a day or two to get back to, but rest assured I will. So let's see you in the next interview.